people are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Do not come. Do not come. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat, our Sunday night shit show. Pat, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. Tech problems and my phone doesn't work, and I took it back twice to get repaired, and they gave it back to me, and they're like, here you go, it's fixed. And it isn't fixed, and I took it back again. They're like, now we can't fix it. And then, as always with good old Samsung, they're like, well, instead of the people that you just took the phone to who are authorized by us, you need to call us in person and talk on the phone and then set up a thing to get it back. And here's 5 hours I probably put into this thing. I mean, if you do the math on labor, like, what the fuck? I got to put 5 hours.
Time is money. But it still isn't fixed.
No, it's still broken. I have a backup phone that half works. So, as long as I don't close it too many times, I can use it. But if I close it, it'll start not working on me.
I feel like this is you planting the seed of why you're never going to respond to my texts again.
Well, I've already used that with some people. So let's go.
The Runs has a request, Pat.
Get rid of the Trump comma.
He's gonna blocked for no. I know.
I should.
I think we definitely have to get Kamala out of there. Although she's coming back in a couple years, so we'll shelve it. We'll put it aside for just a little bit of time.
It'll be worth the time off from her. So yes, good idea.
Speaking of tech problems, you are lagging a little bit.
Am I? Audio,
video. I don't know if anybody else is seeing that, but you're a little bit. So we're just putting it out there that you might get bounced from the studio. This is me. If you say something I disagree with, I'm bouncing you, and I'm just feel like, I don't know, it's a tech problem.
Yeah. Well, it could. I mean, I had to turn off my VPN. We were just talking about this before the show. I had to get a VPN put on my computer because I might watch illegal stuff a lot.
What?
And the cable company actually sent me an email saying, you watch this show on this date, your IP address, and you better stop it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So back to using the VPN, but it's off for the show, but maybe the software itself is creating an issue or something.
I don't know. Yes. And I do remember when my kids were little and we got some of those, and they had figured out how to do all that way before I knew how to do it. Truth to tweet, it's a new feature of StreamYard where we can show the chat on the screen. So we thought we would give it a shot and see if we like it. I don't know. Is it too distracting? What do we think? I can't read it. So it's just like an extra little thing there. Yeah, I think it's kind of fun.
I can kind of read it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it takes some work, but
yeah.
I mean, I have the chat open usually on the right anyway.
Yeah, same.
But when we pick graphics, we have to choose between seeing the chat and our graphics to pick from.
Right.
So on the management side of the show, we can't do both at the same time. This way we can, but like you said, you can't. You got to kind of squint to read all the comments live.
On
air.
Yeah, I can't read it with my old ass eyes either. Oh, not the chat thing, she said. Emoticons to the right of the screen. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing. Yeah, is your color blue the same as my color blue? Okay. First, we want to thank, as always, our wonderful pup heroes and sheroes, our members. Thank you guys so much. Truly, truly, we are so grateful for your support. Thank you. The comments, the retweets. So cheers to all of you. Thank you. Do you have anything you want to say? I feel like I keep railroading you there.
No, I already told stories about my internet and, what else? You don't want my stories today. Let's go. Let's get the show on.
All right. So we are gonna show, it is graduation time, which means, pretty soon all of the encampments will be off campus because people will leave for the summer. But what that gives us are some truly courageous young people who are speaking out to power and demanding that the places where they are depositing hundreds of thousands of dollars or incurring hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt stop using that money to fund the genocide that Israel is perpetrating against Palestinians. So this is MIT class president Mega Verumi, I think. Sorry, her name got Vermuri. And she spoke at MIT the day before graduation, class president.
You showed the world that MIT wants a free Palestine. Last spring, MIT's undergraduate body and graduate student union voted overwhelmingly to cut ties with the genocidal Israeli military. You called for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. And you stood in solidarity with the pro-Palestine activists on campus. You faced threats, intimidation, and suppression coming from all directions, especially your own university officials. But you prevailed because the MIT community that I know would never tolerate a genocide. Right now, while we prepare to graduate and move forward with our lives, there are no universities left in Gaza. We are watching Israel try to wipe Palestine off the face of the earth, and it is a shame that MIT is a part of it. The Israeli occupation forces are the only foreign military that MIT has research ties with. This means that Israel's assault on the Palestinian people is not only aided and abetted by our country, but our school. As scientists, engineers, academics, and leaders, we have a commitment to support life, support aid efforts, and call for an arms embargo, and keep demanding now, as alumni, that MIT cuts the ties. Now, I invite you all to join me in the tradition of turning the ring. Please raise your brass rat or grad rat bearing hands, and as you lift it off your fingers, notice that the beaver is no longer facing you. It is now facing the world. This is a world that we will be entering with an immeasurable responsibility. We will carry with us the stamp of the MIT name, the same name that is directly complicit in the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. And so we carry with us the obligation to do everything we can to stop it. Class of 2025, you are MIT. Pressure is nothing to you. I know you will take it head on, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you, and congratulations again.
So, brilliant speech, beautiful, and this is what she got from the administration. They prohibited her from walking the stage at graduation, which, you know, for calling out a genocide. And this guy, this big Zionist guy, Uriel, make that bitch famous. May she never find any career path and be humiliated for what she just did and did before that. P.S. Mega, if you really want to sound cool, work on your Gaza accent. And did her LinkedIn profile.
That's just telling that he says, make this bitch famous. Like, they're disgusting Zionist like ideology of dehumanizing everybody. And just, if you're in an official capacity, why would you choose that language? Why would you? It's just disgusting on every level.
It is so disgusting. And like, I am trying to think of any time as repulsive as our leaders are. And I mean, you know, they do the pager thing. They say awful, like they're disgusting, but like, this is just constant. You know, there's somebody else, the flotilla, the peace freedom flotilla is sailing to try to go through the blockade. It's got Greta Thunberg and other people on it. The last time they tried, about a month ago, Israel bombed the ship 3 times.
Thinking that Greta was on.
Got on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's another guy who is, again, in an official capacity as a representative of Israel saying, I hope nothing happens to that flotilla, like this jihadi Greta Thunberg flotilla, right? So like painting everybody who's against a genocide and wants to deliver aid to a starving population, and then that means you're a terrorist. Like, I mean, I know it's not working on the rest of the world, but it's just,
if a single pro-Palestinian person said something like that, who had any stature whatsoever, official in any organization, it would be the end. They would be calling for the end of that organization to exist.
Yeah,
for choosing the same exact words.
Yeah. I mean, the mind really boggles that this has been allowed to happen. The level of dehumanization is just truly jaw-dropping, and it is so pervasive. But we will come back to everything Israel after.
Yes.
Towards the end of the show. I think we'll start with the wheel, and then we will head on to our commander-in-chief.
But kudos to MIT's Megha Vemuri. She's amazing.
Absolutely.
And that's how you use your privilege, which, I mean, she earned the privilege of being the valedictorian, but that's how you use the power you get from it, or class president.
Class president, yeah. And I think, anyway, there was another one today or yesterday at Harvard, but anyway, she was not allowed to walk the stage. But yes, that is how you use your moment if you have any care at all for humanity. So thank you to her. Cheers to her.
Amen.
Yeah, baby.
Beer of the night is Love by Almanac. Pretty good. Should we?
I missed your beer. So do you want to say it again? I don't know if.
Oh, it's Love by Almanac, and it's tasty.
Look at that, tasty love.
I don't know if we have a WTF. We'll just go with the Zen. How's that?
Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to?
People keep correcting me, telling me that it's Cybertruck and not Tesla truck. I don't fucking care! I don't care what it's called! I hate them! I hate them! I need them off the streets! I need them off the road! I need them on the highway! I need them out of my town! I need them out of my country! Fuck! I'm so sick of them! I'm so sick of Tesla trucks! Cybertrucks! Fuck!
I think we can all relate to that level of just barely keeping it together most days.
And when I see a Cybertruck, it literally does piss me off. I get angry. I'm just like, that stupid fucking thing shouldn't be on the streets. Nobody should be sporting this Nazi ass billionaire. I hate you. I hate a culture that makes that ugly fucking truck cool somehow to these idiots.
So expensive. It blows up. You can't wash it. Did we talk about this already? Somebody showed a video, took his Cybertruck to the car wash, gets it washed, and it's completely destroyed. And when he called customer service, they just referred him to page like 366 of the manual, where you're supposed to push a button that it's in car wash mode, and there's like some protective seal.
It's such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the panels are glued on. You know, they had to call them all for glued on panels.
Yeah.
And trust me, in 5 years, those glued on panels, even with the new glue, are not going to be glued on.
Of course. No, it's a disaster. Total disaster.
They're so fucking ugly.
I forgot to say, please make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. Yeah, they're so ugly and he's awful. And let's just start with the shit show in the White House. So apparently Trump was told that, why can't I find this? Where did everything go? Everything just disappeared on me. Trump was told that he has a new nickname. So should we start with the video or should we start with this is the nickname?
We should Taco.
Trump always chickens out. Taco Trump. This is a reference to tariffs. And, you know, this actually makes me feel again, like in 2016, when everybody's like, oh, he's Putin's puppet, and almost like bullying him into trying to start a war with Russia, right?
Yeah.
Like, be tougher.
I have the same response. Like, this is all funny. It's a good nickname and all that stuff, but we want him to chicken out on the tariffs because they're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So
And
why are we?
yeah.
Because
Like,
he's more, when you push him like this, he's more likely to exert his power of, I'm not chickening out.
Yeah,
Look,
I'm
the
never
tariffs
gonna
are stuck
change.
now. So
Yeah.
congrats. You call me Taco some more, guys.
Yeah. Are you a man or a mouse? I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, he is not a fan of the nickname that he hadn't even heard about until this question. And why can't I even find anything here? Help me out here, Pat. Where did it go? Oh my God. You're
Is
kidding.
it gone?
Yeah. Did you bump it?
Trump remedial math?
Nope. Geez Louise, talk about, all right, give me a second here. Technical difficulties.
You upload it and I'll show some more joy. Let's bring some more
All right.
joy in the world with some
bring it.
rabbits. Have some rabbit joy.
Let's see it.
Michael, hardcore!
Zoom, 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 zoom. I'm zooming in my room. My zoom is up forever.
Okay. I was just about to ask, are rabbits like deer? Do they just like poo as they're walking and they don't go in a specific place or whatever? And that just answered it for me. If I had a rabbit, it would never come out of its pen.
Do they just poop as they run?
I mean, they just did it on that bed, I guess. Maybe unless it was like a.
And they probably don't come out the hard pellets we're thinking. They're like.
It was just like little round balls, but I don't need that on my bed for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Okay, thank you. We are really glitchy. I don't know why. We're coming back, and thank you. Some people gave us words of encouragement. Kimmy, thank you. Okay, so here is Trump being asked about the taco moniker.
The Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, okay, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. This country was dying. You know, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me, he said, you got the hottest, we have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. You set a number. And if you go down, you know, if I set a number at a ridiculous high number and I go down a little bit, you know, a little bit, they want me to hold that number, 145% tariff. Even I said, man, that really got up. You know how it got? Because of fentanyl and many other things, and you added it up. I said, where are we now? We're at 145%. I said, whoa, that's high. That's high. They were doing no business whatsoever, and they were having a lot of problems. We were very nice to China. I don't know if they're going to be nice to us, but we were very nice to China. And in many ways, I think we really helped China tremendously because, they were having great difficulty because we were basically going cold turkey with China. We were doing no business because of the tariff, because it was so high. But I knew that. But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead.
Don't ever say what you said. It's a nasty question. He's so
That part I love,
fragile.
but
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous. Look, we don't want the tariffs to exist. That's the bottom line. The press shouldn't want the tariffs to exist. The press should be following economic theory that everybody unilaterally says this is stupid. This is bad for America. Our costs are all going to go up. The country that puts on the tariffs pays the cost of those tariffs. Inflation is already a problem. This is not good. And these deals for manufacturing in the U.S. are, we've said this before, they're not this panacea of millions of jobs. They're robotic factories that are just going to make it worse for workers.
Yeah. And as you said, all the costs are going to be passed down to us. And, there was a thing that happened last week where Walmart said that their prices were going to go up, and Trump, fired off a nasty tweet to them and said that they should eat up the extra costs, which, I mean, they should anyway. But of course, that's not going to happen. It's just a way of saving face. He did the same thing where he sent out a tweet to Tim Cook and Apple and said that they had to eat the cost because the analysis of the product came through with, if we made iPhones in this country, they said it would cost $3,500 an iPhone. And of course, because of the cost of labor. And then Tim Cook said, well, no, it's because they're just much more technically proficient there. We don't have people who are as technically proficient here, the skill set. And I just have to, because this is crazy to me. This is the New York Times. Like, you can come up with all the different reasons. We're paying slave labor. We don't let people, Bill Burr has that joke, very sad joke, but people will jump out of a window and there's a net there to catch them and make sure that they're not actually allowed to fall to their deaths, which is what they are hoping for because of the horrific conditions. And then they're marched right back up. Yeah.
Sounds like a joke is real.
Oh yeah.
That is not a joke.
Yeah.
They literally have suicide nets.
Yeah. Yeah. But so here's the New York Times. I mean, I honestly, what does China offer that the United States doesn't? Small hands, a massive seasonal workforce, and millions of engineers. Young Chinese women have small fingers, and that has made them a valuable contributor to iPhone production because they are more nimble at installing screws and other miniature parts in the small device supply chain, experts said. I mean, corporate media is going to do everything to protect their big business friends' ability to employ slaves.
I find that hard to believe. First off, just not true, because I do lots of fine motor things. And, it's the tools. You need the tools. Like, none of these things are you with your little finger going ding, ding,
right.
Ding. They have robotic tools that assist them in all these things.
Yeah.
The whole way through these things. And if that's true, okay, well, we're not all white people in America. You could have those, if somehow there's some magical Asian factories.
Oh my God.
I mean,
it's just another example. We have this moron, racist reality show host as the leader of the pretend free world, whatever. He says the most repulsive things. Chaos is ensuing because of his haphazard policies that have no thought behind them. He lies about everything. I mean, as most politicians do, but he's such an easy target to take down those policies. But no, the New York Times is going to now make an excuse for why Apple is using slave labor in China. It's excellent. Okay.
And but the small hands thing reminded me of Trump again, because remember he got mocked for the small hands forever.
Yes. Yep.
And we don't want to make fun of him on this taco thing because it's just going to push him into a corner to stay with these ridiculous, nonsensical tariffs that harm us.
And it's such a base level of, I mean, it's not analysis. Like, there are policies that you can criticize and that he should be impeached for, right? Like, by the way, all of our presidents who have taken us to war without the congressional approval or the emoluments clause or whatever, but like, it's never that. It's, he should be, the 25th. There was all that stuff about his mental abilities and how they should do the somebody should use the 25th Amendment against him in his first regime because he was, out of his mind. And there were all these psychiatrists who had never met him in person, but were saying, making their evaluations at him. Yeah. They're actual, and I might even agree with a lot of that, but like, there are policy decisions that he is implementing right now that are so destructive.
And just to think of any single one of those being ignored so we can get the taco sound clip.
Yeah.
It's just absurd. How about talk about fascism?
Yeah.
How about that?
How about a genocide or everything that they're doing with DHS and Kristi Noem? And it's always just like the dumbest shit ever. So just to like go down the dumb stuff before we get to some of the policy stuff. Also, the new Blue MAGA name for Carolyn Levitt is Bullshit Barbie. Bullshit Barbie. This is, but like, you could go through anybody with a Ukrainian flag or a vote blue no matter who, or, whatever in their byline. But yeah, so she is not only Bullshit Barbie, but somebody else decided she's also Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Fucking AI. God damn it.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to show the Trump Taco AI?
Yeah, we might as well. We don't support AI. We're showing this as news as
an example of what people are doing when there are such horrific things happening. It's just like, it is really, they are robbing everybody of brain cells by engaging in this, which now we're engaging it by showing it. We just want you to be aware of all the ridiculousness.
Trump said China's gonna pay. Tariffs start the very next day. Stocks went red, he hit the brakes. Canceled fast, no high stakes. It's the taco trade. Trump always chickens out. Talks real big, then spins around. Says he's strong, but full of doubt. TACO, he backs right out.
Okay, so, yeah.
I just go back to like, this is, what if you're like, hey, Trump, you said you do all this racist stuff you're not doing. Ha ha, you're not doing the racist stuff enough. Ha ha. That's, this is economically harming us tremendously. And you're like mocking that he's not doing enough of it. Like he said he would.
Yeah. Yeah. He always chickens out. Go ahead. Do the 145% tariffs on China. Why aren't you? Stick with it. Destroy everybody in this country and around the world as fast as possible. Okay. So the other things happening and then we'll come back to that, but is, sorry, here we go. We have so much stuff. Yeah. So here's another one, really important stuff. Kash Patel having an interview on a huge chair, and he does look really tiny. That feels like a total unforced error. Like, seriously, I wouldn't sit in a chair like that. And I am not, I don't have like a cabinet position in the most powerful country in the world. But anyway, yeah. So,
but it is the same silliness of like, okay, you could have written an article about him and the COVID and how getting rid of the
FBI and what they've been doing and how they're going to be tracking us now with DHS. There's so many things that you could be talking about. But also it's like, I'm looking at like, why are they so bad at this? It really is. They're all just embarrassing yes men. They are surrounded by their yes men. And so nobody ever says to them, the whole, like all of these rich, powerful people, they're buffoons.
Right. They are. And they're beyond, look, they're just beyond caring what we think on any level. Look
Yeah.
at all the people in his campaign who survived, who should be out for public humiliation, you know.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. Like Elon Musk goes on TV fucking on ketamine or whatever with a black eye.
So that was
and nothing matters. Like, who cares? The optics were terrible. Trump looks weak. He looks like he shouldn't be in charge of anything. So
there
what?
is something
What are you gonna do about it?
Funny about two of the biggest, like, you know, Nazi you know, haters of anybody foreign, right? And there's Stephen Miller, who is replaced by an immigrant in the bedroom. There's something sort of funny about that. But anyway, yeah, so couldn't happen
that
to
story. We should
person.
explain the story,
yeah,
if people don't know it.
Stephen Miller's wife apparently has left him for Elon Musk, which was the second shoe to drop this week, because there was a big piece in the New York Times that Elon Musk was basically always on drugs, and it was like a cocktail of drugs. And it was like ketamine and mushrooms and here's the richest man in the world who is gobbling up every government contract there is, taking over, like slashing jobs through his ridiculous Doge initiative, wiping out every brand or every organization that
Social
can regulate him. Yeah, the social safety net, any bureau that would regulate anything that he's already being, taken to the courts for, or might possibly in the future, just completely decimating them, gutting all of these different bureaus. And he's just a massive drug addict with like 15 kids or more, and who I don't know.
He's just so clearly not a smart person, not a good person, not a, yes, a Nazi, yes, supports white supremacy. He's made all these statements about wanting to, return American culture. Like, you don't talk about culture, American culture. What is American culture? To him, it's white supremacy, but no, it should be, if you want to go back to what we're colonizers. Us white people are colonizers. And he comes from a history of colonization in South Africa. Like, that's what he brings to the table. His dad was a fucking Nazi.
Yeah.
His grandpa was a Nazi. His dad was a mined lithium. Or no, diamond mine.
Emeralds. But also, they were in a particular group, go to South Africa and pal around with Nazis and the children of Nazis. So Nazi adjacent. I mean, I don't know how close you have to be to it and what you actually have to do to be a verifiable Nazi. But I feel like he really, that definition can definitely apply to him as well.
And of course, when we say Nazi, nobody's referring to he's reading Nazi literature and supports all the things. It's just that he's a white supremacist. That's what Nazi is.
Great.
That's the shortcut to it.
Exactly.
And if you're not offended by that, you don't come out and do a double salute. And if you do a double salute and it's taken wrong, you then clarify immediately.
Right away. Yeah.
Holy shit, I'm so sorry that looked like that. This is not that.
Right. Exactly.
You don't make memes and jokes about it. I wouldn't.
They're trying to make a whole thing now. I guess Cory Booker today at some, he did his arm sort of like that as he was saying goodbye. And of course, you can take a 2-second clip of anybody with an arm outstretched. I think they have AOC doing it. They have Tim Walz. I mean, probably everybody in life has done that at some point, but not twice. Not when you talk about blood purity and great replacement theory and how white people have to have more babies. There's no question about it. And if it had been misinterpreted right away, you apologize and clarify, of course. Anyway, so this is, just to continue very quickly, all the idiocy, and then we can move on from this. But he also showed up with a black eye under his right eye. And there is a thought that possibly because Stephen Miller is left-handed, that he hit Elon Musk This Elon Musk did feel like clarifying. He says, no, it was X. He told X to punch him. That's his explanation.
I don't care if it's true either way. I'm glad he's got a black eye. I
Yeah.
wish it was a black eye and a broken nose and worse, but you know.
But like this, listen, I don't think there's any honor in the White House anymore at all, if there ever was, but there's definitely no pretense to it. He's, you know, got his little kid a couple months ago picking his nose and telling Trump, you're not the real president and fuck you and all of that, right? It's a mess. But this was from yesterday. And I don't understand how this is allowed. And I guess it's just that they, as you're saying, as we all know, they don't care what we think. They just don't care. They have all the cards. They have all the money. They have all the levers of power. Fuck you if we want to trot this guy in and out of the Oval Office.
Well, it's a very sad case. It's a case we win. We can't lose that case because we have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any grants like that. But I don't think Harvard's been acting very nicely. I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, that are acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot. And all that happens is every 3 days we find another 100.
So he's on his way out. He says he's leaving, you know, Doge, or he's no longer in charge of it. He's done. Why is he there? He's obviously drugged out. He has his bruise. There's all this controversy about him. This New York Times expose just came out, plus the allegations of Stephen Miller's wife leaving to go be with Elon Musk. He's standing there in his Doge hat and his Doge father t-shirt. Like, what is this? We're Jerry Springer now.
But if I had to guess, it's him exerting that he is still the closest to power, and people that want to go after him for all this stuff because of these articles and stories look at him with Trump. So he tells Trump, get me out there. I need to show that even I'm out with Doge, but I'm not out with you. You're still owned by a billionaire, a bigger billionaire than you.
Yeah. I mean, they're just rubbing our faces in all of it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Mostly.
That's just it.
We're powerful.
Disgusting. Okay, so let's get to some of the stuff that's actually happening that is, you know, horrifying. Turns out that I think 50 of the migrants who were sent to that torture camp in El Salvador were here completely legally. Whoops. And that's from the right-wing Cato Institute. Right? So they're deporting people. They want to deport people to Libya. They've deported people to Sudan.
Can you imagine going through all the hell of life in Palestine and the whole world says, yeah, here's Libya for you. You're going to go live in Libya.
But this was actually, okay, yes, that's
I know this
one
is
of
not these 50
Trump's
people.
plans,
I'm just saying,
but yeah, like, I know. No, it's, I mean, like, how many places in this world have we destroyed? Libya, I mean, all of the global south, basically. And then once we make every other place a hellhole, we want to get rid of, this is the new, you know, this is the way they're terming it. It's remigration. It has 3 parts. You remove undocumented immigrants, but then you move on to the voluntary, and they're doing this now, asking people to voluntarily leave. If you're black or brown, leave, basically. But they're asking people who are here legally for $1,000, I think they're offering them, to leave. But then the third thing they are going to try to do, and they're doing it already, is to pass laws that target the undesirables, the people who they feel are a drain on our country culturally or economically. And it's this, you know, far right thing called remigration, which is Rubio is already adopting it. But, you know, as they're coming to places, and we're seeing, you know, every day, another video of people who show up to their immigration meetings, appointments on time. The immigration judge is like, you're fine, you're good, you've done all your stuff, you're good to go. They get arrested and deported. And then, you know, even the most famous person, or the most famous example of the person who was sent to El Salvador, Brayo Garcia, Trump administration said it was a mistake. They admitted it was a mistake, but we can't do anything about it. So if there's no consequences, it doesn't even matter if it's against the law. There's just no consequences. Who's going to force them to change it?
And to me, look, you know, when people said, what would you do back in Germany if you were around when the Nazis were doing it? Like, this doesn't have to end in gas chambers to be atrocious, because you're being punitive to people that aren't white across the board, which is pretty fucking awful. And if you don't think sending people who don't deserve prison here because they have done nothing illegal, who are actually here legally, sending them to one of the cruelest prisons in the world and not caring about your mistakes, like, we're there already. These are awful things happening right in front of us. And so let's not just mock Trump on not being like bad enough for our economy on tariffs. Like, focus on this shit.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen a Democrat speak up basically at all. Also, this is the other thing. Like, a lot of these ICE agents are, I mean, first of all, abolish ICE. ICE started in 2003. Like, it's not something deeply rooted that I wouldn't matter even if it were. Slavery was deeply rooted, right? Like, get rid of things that suck. But we could like abolish it, not increase their budget by 1,300%. Thanks, Obama. But anyway, you know, a lot of these people now are like kind of like Proud Boy adjacent little private militias that are contracted by ICE. They have all of the Nazi, you know, it's like Viking era tattoos that have been appropriated by white supremacist neo-Nazi groups because of the purity of the Viking, you know, so the what is it, the walnut?
No,
like,
yeah, and it's an acceptable version of the Nazi shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Is kind of what it is.
And just like Proud Boys, you know, it's so funny, all these mask bans that they want for students and for protesters, they wear face coverings. So this was from, okay, so 12 Ball, who's a really great Twitter account, does a lot of stuff on Israel and Gaza and Palestinians. March 14th, when Mahmoud Khalil was arrested, thanks, Zainab, was arrested, those ICE agents who arrested him, and nobody's even charged him. He's been thrown into some prison in Louisiana, has not been able to see his new baby, has not been charged with anything. They cannot even find like an ugly quote that he said. You know, I'm sure they've looked at all of his social media. If there were anything there, they would be blasting it all over. Have not found anything, not been charged with anything, but they blurred out those ICE agents' faces on the news when they were showing the arrest, right? So now, just this past week, ICE agents were in San Francisco, took 4 people into custody after the people had gone to their immigration appointment, and then ICE asked the San Francisco Standard, the paper, to blur their faces. And the San Francisco Standard said, no, we won't. Like, we're not doing that. But they're still wearing their masks. But it is, you know, very grateful. I'm very grateful that the San Francisco Standard is showing their faces, although, I mean, I don't know. But you know, when you think about the complicity of our media, it's just unfathomable that you are blurring out the faces of the perpetrators of these unlawful arrests. For what? What are you protecting?
Unlawful arrest, no due process whatsoever. You know, the Constitution says even anyone here should have due process.
Yes.
No matter whether you're American, you snuck over here, you're here illegally, due process protects all of us, even if you don't think those protections should be there for an immigrant that's here illegally, you know, or something.
Yep.
Because otherwise, people with masks on can show up in my apartment and just throw me in a van and I'm gone. And the government could just say, we have reasons.
Which is what's happening. Like, that is what's happening. And, you know, the other thing is like they don't have badges, they don't have numbers, they don't show their faces, they don't have to give any reason for the arrest. Or I mean, they should have to, but nobody's enforcing this. So this could just be kidnappings and nobody would know. Like, how would anybody be able to differentiate between a van pulling up with 3 big men with masks on, grabbing a family off the street? Like, how do we even, nobody knows, there's no legal process for this that's being enforced by anybody who's supposed to be overseeing this. I mean, it's completely lawless. Like we have already descended, which is why like it just makes me so mad when people are like, oh, the pet project that these young kids have, you know, like the Bill Maher thing or Jake Tapper about Gaza and Palestine. Like, oh, it's just their one small pet. No, it's first of all, just be a human, and a genocide is happening with our weapons and our diplomatic cover and our money, no matter what. But also, even if you are so small-minded that you don't care about those brown people over there, everything they are doing over there is just practice to bring it back here. That's it.
It is practice. And I think the cruelty part of it, I don't know if it was this case or another one similar, but they went in and threw concussion grenades on all these innocent people to get some of the people. So a concussion grenade can really fuck up your hearing, and like, it's dangerous. It isn't just like something in Call of Duty. It's like you throw a little mini grenade in that pops ears and things, makes you dizzy, you know. And they did that to knowing innocent people who are here. I mean, they're all innocent, but like they did it to straight up Americans next to them without any due process. Like, you could have just captured these people without that part anyway. That part didn't have to be part of this at all.
But the cruelty is the point. I mean, it really is. Like, that's the point. They, you know, we saw those videos at the beginning that were produced at the beginning of the Trump regime that were like highly produced, like a movie trailer with the ASMR and the clink of the chain on them and marching them up. And it was supposed to be like this, you know, Independence Day kind of, you know, us versus them, you know, conquer the world sort of vibe. And it is disgusting. It is so disgusting. This is crazy to me. I mean, when is this going to stop? DHS just showed up and arrested an aide from Jerry Nadler's office, like in his congressional office. And because, okay, so sorry, DHS officers handcuffed a congressional staffer for Representative Jerry Nadler in the lawmaker's office, accusing her of harboring rioters. The office was hosting immigration court observers after they were threatened with arrest by ICE. So they're going to make it illegal to oversee, to regulate, to have consequences for the actions of people in power.
Yeah, and the only defense we've had so far that works somewhat is the courts, right?
Right.
So the courts have ruled, because the Trump administration tried to go after law firms, and like courts aren't going to let you go after law firms. That's right. They overreach on this stuff, but they're letting him get away with a lot of stuff. So we can't rely on the courts to stop any of this stuff. We can't rely on him. At some point, he's going to go to war with the courts and overrule. I mean, he's already not complying with court orders.
Well, so that's the thing. It's like, that is a constitutional crisis. And also, who enforces it? When the court says, hey, you have to bring Garcia back, or first they said, you cannot send these people. Like, they put an immediate injunction, and Trump was like, oh, too late. We're already in the air. Okay, turn the plane back. Like, so then those people are deposited, 250 some odd people deposited in a torture dungeon for life illegally. But who enforces the court's decision? So when the court puts a stay on something, like, what happens? Then what? Okay, who's going to enforce that? The ICC says there's a genocide. There's a warrant out for Smotrich and Gallant and Netanyahu for being war criminals, committing a genocide. But they're just, they come visit us. They go to the Congress. They like, who enforces it? So what difference does it make?
On a local level in the U.S., specific to this stuff, the courts need to put a punitive thing in place, because they can punish people for not complying with court orders, and they need to do that. And then once that happens, it'll go up the chain and it'll end up in the Supreme Court deciding whether, I don't know, some lower tier guy that they put it all on has to go to prison for a week or something,
Yeah.
That's
Musk will blame
the courts have to do that. If the courts don't put a penalty on it, it's the courts' move to penalize is what I'm saying. The courts,
right? But like, what?
But
how? Like, who's going to enforce that penalty? You know what I mean? Like, where's the mechanism? Like, who's doing it? There has to be
No, I understand somebody has to carry it out, but the mechanism won't ever get in place unless the courts say it.
Right.
They have to put an actual punishment to not
comply
with the court order.
Right. Okay, then this happened just this week. Kristi Noem bragging about arresting this guy. Thanks to our ICE officers, this illegal alien who threatened to assassinate President Trump is behind bars. The threat comes not even a year after President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 weeks after former FBI Director Comey called for the president's assassination. All politicians and members of the media should take notice of these repeated attempts on President Trump's life and tone down their rhetoric. I will continue to take all measures necessary to ensure the protection of President Trump. I will say it's crazy to me that there were 3 assassination attempts on him last year, and like nothing's really happened from that. That's crazy, but separate, because it was a fake fucking letter. The letter was sent by the guy who had robbed this man, who was in jail awaiting trial, who wrote a letter pretending to be that guy, threatening an assassination. So this is from CNN. Investigators believe,
Well, this is the problem with not having due process, right? This is why you don't just allow these people all this power to do all these things unchecked.
Yeah. Every time their mouth moves, they're lying. So they need to document everything and go through a process. This is horrific, and they will be doing it to all of us. They're not stopping here. Law enforcement believes the man, Ramon Morales Reyes, never wrote the letter, which was sent to an ICE enforcement office and other law enforcement agencies. Instead, investigators suspect the letter was intended to benefit a separate individual who is currently awaiting trial in a robbery and assault case in which Reyes is a victim. Awesome. But you know why
you just see what they can do to all of us if they can just do this. Somebody can write a letter that's fake, and I can end up in a Salvadorian prison.
Yeah. Bye. Mistake. Sorry. And here's the kicker. Kristi Noem is negotiating a possible reality show where immigrants compete for citizenship, like the real fucking Hunger Games. It's all, I mean, this is all like a joke to them, because they see everybody as enemies to them and as subhuman.
And this is all so blatantly evil, corrupt, wrong, that it should be so easy for Democrats to come in this moment and win the public over and actually drive the public to take some actions right now. But they're going to hang on to it politically.
Let it get worse. It'll be good.
They're going to let it get worse while sort of agreeing with it on the way to not rub any feathers wrong. So we're sort of, the narrative is still immigrants are bad.
Oh,
Democrats
bipartisan.
are behind that.
We just showed fucking Mayo Pete talking about the border. Stop demonizing people who just want a better life. Like, what happened to give us you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor, we are a melting pot or a chef salad, or however we want to phrase it, whatever. Like, what are we protecting here anymore? What are we protecting? So that is where we are with that. And, one thing, going back to the tariffs just really quickly, and I don't even know where, it was the Harvard thing. That's where we're about to get to. All right. Do you have anything more that you want to talk about with the deportations?
I mean, just that, look, we don't want to, immigrants, just to always reiterate, they commit way less crime. They pay their taxes, or at least they used to. Now they're scared to pay their taxes. So, you know, people that don't have documents here now, they're not going to be contributing taxes as much as they used to, because you have this whole system up with Palantir now in the government, which we'll get to a little bit, I guess. But like, they're being advised by people, immigration attorneys and whatnot, civil servants, to not pay this time around in many cases, because you're going to get tracked and found and deported.
You don't want
paperwork. And these are people that they help our society, is the bottom line.
Yeah.
They help our society. They're good for society. They buy things. They used to pay taxes. They don't commit crimes. They're way better Americans than Americans.
It's just such a cruel way to think of other humans. I don't know what makes people this way. I honestly, I don't understand it. It's just disgusting. Sorry, I just want to make sure that we've got the migrant stuff. Okay, so moving towards the free speech part of this, because Kristi Noem, in conjunction with Rubio, you know, this is like part of a sort of multi-pronged offensive against anybody not supporting the US. Well, that's first of all, that's not a crime. I mean, it's never been a crime before. Like, you're supposed to be able to say anything you want in this country, even against the US. That's a democracy. Like, what are we? What are we, like, they hate us for our freedom? So Rubio, while they're doing this huge project against Harvard, and they want a list of everybody, all their foreign students, and they are taking away their funding, and there was a court injunction against that, but then Trump still took away $100 million, and taking away their ability to give visas, student visas, trying to attract people to come to Harvard. Rubio puts this out. For too long, Americans have been fined, harassed, and even charged by foreign authorities for exercising their free speech rights. I don't even know what he's talking about with that. Yeah. Honestly, he's just saying words. Yeah. Today, I'm announcing a new visa restriction policy that will apply to foreign officials and persons who are complicit in censoring Americans. Free speech is essential to the American way of life, a birthright over which foreign governments have no authority. Foreigners who work to undermine the rights of Americans should not enjoy the privilege of traveling to our country, whether in Latin America, Europe, or elsewhere. The days of passive treatment for those who work to undermine the rights of Americans are over.
I mean, you're talking about just stopping travelers from coming to our country for their views. Like,
no, but he's saying it's to protect, because those countries have impinged on Americans' free rights, free speech rights. Like, what?
No, the justification is ridiculous. But you're really going to stop people from coming here and spending money in our economy from the world? Like, what are we doing? This is just, travel is a major part of our economic sustenance in America. Yep. And I don't know why the fuck you'd want to come to this country. I think fucking get.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I don't think other.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I know we have a lot of, you know, Yosemite, and we have a lot of awesome places to see, but like culturally, we're fucking becoming Nazis now. And with all the,
nobody should come here. What? No one should come here. Do not come. Like, seriously, this is a scary fucking place now. I would not advise anyone to come here. So what was revealed in this whole, you know, brouhaha with Harvard, which, you know, a lot of people are thinking that maybe, you know, Trump has a chip on his shoulder because he didn't get into Harvard, and his son Barron didn't get into Harvard, and Obama went to Harvard. I mean, who knows? I don't even care. It doesn't matter what the thinking is or what his motives are. It is disgusting. But what came out was Harvard actually is about 27% foreigners. So, and a lot of those foreign students actually pay full price of $100,000 a year education. So not only are we losing some of the best and brightest people, Harvard is losing a lot of the financial income that they get from foreign students. And oh, by the way, in an analysis of by Nature Index, Harvard is the only U.S. institution in the global top 10 for research output. If its infrastructure is dismantled, the entire top 10 will be Chinese. So listen, I mean, I'm not at war with China, so I would love not to have this whole like crazy race. But if that's in your thoughts at all, why are you decimating the only good thing that we have in this country at some level is our higher education, the research laboratories, the medical field, the science field, like those are actually.
But you just explained it. They don't want the science field. They don't want the intellectuals. They don't want people who are going to say it's wrong that we're letting a genocide continue. They don't want people saying, hey, we shouldn't build factories in poor neighborhoods and poison them like Elon Musk is doing.
Right.
The #1 guy next to the president. And this is retaliatory in my estimation. It's as simple as, well, Harvard refused to comply with the government for, because they were the only school that pushed back and could afford to self-fund. So they didn't need to comply with his DEI stuff. And so he's like, well, how do we get them? Let's go after all the immigrants. Don't let them come to Harvard. That'll get them. So it is so traitorous to do this to your own country and your own people. I mean, I think it's horrific to behave this way towards anybody. And I have this judgment for Democrats also, for everybody in power denying us a dignified life, whether it's healthcare or wages or clean air and water. It's traitorous. It's murderous. It is criminal and inhumane. And I mean, but I think it's like that slippery slope. Like once you decide, actually, healthcare is not a human right, everybody doesn't deserve it, work harder. Why are there poor people? Like, why are there poor people? Why? Why is anybody poor? Are we really saying that the whole global South and 60% of our country are just lazy? Like, why are people poor? It is a construct by the people in power. There is no reason for anybody to be poor. So all of this is fake. They're clinging on to the American dream thing that's been sold to people. And so, yes, it's your fault if you're poor, basically, which is how they get a lot of people voting against their own interests, because then they can point to the immigrants and say, I wouldn't be in this spot if it wasn't for so many immigrants. So I'm trying to elevate my family, but, we lost manufacturing to China, it's all charade. None of these people care about us at all. None of these policies being put in place are to protect us. They're all just enriching the top people, period.
Yeah. And sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was trying to read everybody's
me too.
comments.
I was just
I know,
mad.
like, and
my
brain
mad.
is like, I know. It's just so despicable and it's unnecessary. It's just disgusting. And then just because then we only have a little bit more on Republicans and then we'll spin the wheel. But, another case of the media helping out the fascists is in New York Magazine. They're talking about Mahmoud Khalil, arrested in March. His wife, Noura Abdallah, was 8 months pregnant. She assumed he'd be released soon. He has a green card and still hasn't been charged with a crime. In the body of the story, a day before Mahmoud Khalil's arrest, he emailed Columbia about protection after a fellow student and professor accused him of being a Hamas supporter on X, tagging Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And they never mention who it was. Why are they protecting Shai Davide? Like, why are you protecting this ex-IDF soldier who has tormented and, stalked his students? So like that is, blurring their faces, protecting their names. All of these are part of a much bigger project. So as much as I despise Trump and everybody who's with him, it's not an anomaly. Like we see that, you know, the Democrats wanted to do this crazy fascist border bill, and we're like, we're trying to give the Republicans what they want, but they don't want it. Like they are all in on this together.
And a lot of this always comes back to, if the media wasn't in on this, the public wouldn't be so in on it as well. You know, public would feel like they had some power, but you know, instead of, we got Jake Tapper out here telling us shit like it's, and the Biden stuff with Biden's, you know, loss of mental abilities or whatever, and that they knew about it, Democrats knew about it and covered up. It's a real story, right? But it keeps us looking backwards, right? So right now we've got Andrea Mitchell running the show on the Jake Tapper thing on CNN. She's the one hosting it all the time now, for the most part. And she's going to write a book in 3 years about how, you know, that we covered up the genocide, even though she's like the top genocide fucking propagandist for Israel.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. They're all trying now in little ways to, you know, they're just going to blame it on Netanyahu. It's just Netanyahu.
He's the bad guy now. Not the whole country, not the media that covered it up, and is still covering it up.
Yeah. Okay. So just wanted to go through two more things. Oh, yeah, because of course, everything that is like the test lab of Palestinians, where these weapons manufacturers and AI tech guys will openly brag that they have tested it out in Gaza and the West Bank. Like they talk about their new technology and their surveillance and all of that. So Palantir has now been tapped by Trump to compile data on Americans. Trump administration expanded Palantir's work with the government, spreading the company's technology throughout agencies. So they are now collecting data on all of us. So all that stuff about the Chinese social scores and how they could watch what you're doing, that is coming here. That's here. And it's already happened. Like I was just looking, there's this one tech guy I follow on Twitter, and he's always giving like little 40-second videos of like, did you know your iPhone could do this or this, or whatever. And one of it was how to search if your information has ever gotten out to the dark web. I don't even honestly totally understand what all of the dark web means anyway, but so I go through all the steps to figure it out. Oh yeah, all of my data in this like dark web way of figuring out what's gone out there through Facebook in 2020 and 2018. They had all of this time to get all of our data.
Yeah. And, you know, we talked about Palantir, but Palantir, that was Alan Karp was the guy with the crazy hair, and Peter Thiel, he and Peter Thiel, another scumbag billionaire. These are the tech bros that are running the world right now. And they're getting all these contracts. They're testing all this shit in Israel. I mean, in Palestine, that's cruel. They're funding the AI system like Lavender that targeted civilians intentionally. You know, it's got an 80% fail rate, which is great. You know, let's just give a business that has an 80% fail rate access to our records to implement AI here. And we talked about it last week. The new legislation, the big, beautiful bill, has a 10-year gap on regulating AI, and the AI people themselves and AI itself is even being asked and telling everybody, you can't not regulate us because in 10 years we'll have control of everything.
It's over. I mean, it's done. It's already too late. They have all of it. They have all of it. Truly.
So
you know,
we can't riot fast enough, really.
You cannot riot fast enough. Get out there and do it. Wow. We should spin because there's still so much to talk about with AI, with the Maha using Chat GPT, with what do you think? Should we just spin and then come back? Yeah. Okay.
I'm always pro spin.
Always pro spin.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you. God. Okay.
I do need to grab a cold one. I'll wait till we spin the button.
Okay,
Spin the
okay,
wheel
one
again.
second. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. Okay, wait. Close and spin.
Yeah, baby.
All right. Speaking of,
Palmer Luckey is the CEO of one of the buzziest weapons companies operating today, but for some reason he kept interrupting me when I tried asking him why he dresses so fucking weird.
I've always said that we need to transition from being the world police to being the world gun store.
Sure, great, but just to quickly ask about your Pokemon Hawaiian shirt, why do
If I can have one guy commanding and controlling 100 aircraft, that's a lot easier than having to have a pilot in every single one, and it puts a lot fewer American lives at risk.
Right, but I'm asking about your weird ass shirts and this thing. Right
if we have to fight Iran and China and Russia all at the same time,
it's right here. Just let me get
we're going to be making large numbers of cruise missiles.
Will you also be making a shirt that doesn't make you look like you sell DVD porn?
There's no moral high ground in making a landmine that can't tell the difference between a school bus full of children and Russian armor.
I'm assuming this is all just because you're an anime adult.
And thank goodness for
it. Okay, fine. Sorry I asked. God. Fuck.
Tick, 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 tick.
it doesn't feel like it's hard even to show any, honestly, I feel like the only thing that we can show that makes me at all calm, unless it's a rabbit shitting on my bed though, is the animals. Because everything, it's like, that's really funny, except that, oh, hey, he's now the head of Anduril joining up with Meta, and they are going to take their, digital whatever XR products and turn them into weapons. Everything for these people is how do we make this a killing machine?
Yeah, and I just want to point out it's the year 2025. I had that chin thing once, but it was like in 1989 or something, and it was bleach blonde and it went with my spiky hair. But to look like that now is seriously a symptom of some problems. Not that that's important.
For real. Yeah, there's something going on there. He's the one who's like, I'm a crazy Zionist. I'm a diehard Zionist. And we're like, wait, what? Not Jewish, nothing, but he's a diehard Zionist because they let me test out the weapons on these inhuman,
Yeah, same with Carp, with Palantir. They love bragging about how cruel, and how violent this stuff is, and they justify the violence because they want to sell the fucking weapons.
They're
these
terrorists.
are evil fucking bastards. They're don't terrorists. Care about people. They're sociopaths.
So, I'm a little concerned about showing either one of these videos because I'm not sure exactly what the bent or the underlying philosophy is of the person who made this about AI and how many of the rights that we gave over at the beginning of COVID felt necessary at the time because we were all terrified. There was a group of people fighting back hard against some of the some of the surveillance and the government overreach. And I feel like these are separate issues, right? Like, I believe in vaccines. I believe in public health. I believe in protecting community. But just like the lockdowns, which, here lasted for a very short time, I was, one of the many people, like I'm sure most of us were, saying yes, and then pay people $2,500 a month to stay home. That's what they were doing in many countries in Asia, in Europe, right? But instead, it was lock everybody home, send some people to work, and transfer, hundreds of billions of dollars to the wealthiest people in the world, PPE loans, whatever, and then forgive all those loans, right? So but asking people to stay home, not to spread a virus that we had no idea how it was spread at first. And, like, so I want to just be careful about not fully endorsing or not endorsing if we find out that whoever put this video together is some like anti-vax, like, oh, it's just a cold nut. But I also do think that this is scary, as we know that they're talking about chipping us and like truly saying, I mean, did you ever go to one of those Whole Food storefronts where you didn't even have to do anything but swipe your hand over when you first enter, and then but maybe you had to show your Whole Food, like it can generate like a code that you get a discount if you're a Prime member or whatever. When you first walk in, I think that's what it was. You scanned your phone, you go, you fill up your cart or your basket, whatever. There's no place to, there's no shopping cart. Like you don't go through a checker, nothing. Then you walk out the same kind of way, just a turnstile. And as you're walking out, before the turnstile goes, you haven't scanned an item. It says what you owe.
Yeah. It's
crazy. So they're doing this
scary.
already. That was like 4 years ago.
Well, excuse me. I went just before the show started for the first time to my local burrito shop. Super uber Mexican, decent English-ish, but like a local spot, like a local divey Mexican place right down the street. And they had an automated kiosk to order. And it's the first time I've seen like a real small time place like that where I don't get greeted by anybody. There's nobody in there. It's just me and the people picking up their orders that are working for Uber. And it's just pushing buttons. I mean, that's the local little burrito shop. They just lost a job. That's a job taken away right there.
Yep. And okay, and again, it's so multifaceted, right? So yes, it's a job taken away, but it also is removing any social interaction or dependency or community or engagement.
Just humanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be loyal to them when a guy's just handing me my food at the end.
Like what happened to Cheers?
They could easily get rid of the guy handing the food next. It's just, it could be a robot back there and you're not even going to know it because you're used to going up to the kiosk, pushing in the buttons. You barely see a person. Actually, at the end, that might be the only job there is the guy handing you your food at the end.
Well, I mean, we have restaurants here. I'm sure you do too. They're like, I mean, it's a little different. It's like a sushi restaurant, but it's all on a conveyor belt. So you just like pull stuff off. In Barcelona, when my son Asher was there was a restaurant that was just totally operated by robots who come up, take your order, and then come back and like you open the stomach and take the food out. I mean, like we're just like Soylent Green, just like be born, eat, work, die. It's just, and it is.
But to have all that
contract.
But to have all that and all the technical capabilities that all this provide, the shows, and you can't just have like a kiosk on the corner that has some food for anyone that needs some food. It just spits out some soup for people. Like, can we have an automated on every fucking 10 blocks, something where people can fucking eat?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Boycott anything where a human isn't involved. And I just saw somebody recently said it was a place that doesn't have any more real cashiers. You have to do all your own scanning. So you do all your scanning and bagging and all of that. But then as you walk out, you're supposed to show somebody your receipt. Well, you don't want anybody to do the scanning, to bag the groceries. And now you want to make sure I did a job I wasn't trained for properly. Fuck you. Like you cannot, like, we have to, those small acts of resistance are really important because yes, as we all know, we are not voting our way out of this. We have to make it financially impossible for them. So like, obviously I never went back to that Whole Foods again, you know, once that happened, but you know, and then just going back to the data mining thing, like, do you remember when Facebook first came out, 2000, whatever, when I first was aware of it, like 2008, 9, whatever. And there were all these like fun, silly games, like, oh, your porn name is the, you know, your first pet's name and the street you grew up on. Right. Oh, I don't know why it was always like stripper name, but whatever. Your astrological, you know, your future sign is, you know, punch in the day you were born plus your favorite color, and we'll tell you, you know, all of these things were not just fun quizzes. Yeah, they were data mining.
Yep.
So this is about AI biometric surveillance. Just as we know that 23andMe, that I don't know why anybody would have given your DNA over to a company, but if you did, that company sold all your stuff to somebody else. I don't even know where it is, but like, there is no privacy anymore. And you can still want privacy even if you're not doing anything wrong. Like, I hate that. Like, oh, why would somebody take the fifth if they didn't do anything wrong? Can't self-incriminate if you didn't do anything wrong.
But what we've set up before this tells you why it matters, because they can use something against you that you said somewhere in some of this privacy thing and justify you having no due process because criminals don't deserve due process. And we found you doing some criminal thought thing.
You're a Hamas supporter
over here.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
So no due process. So even if we're wrong, hey, we know enough about you that you're a bad person. So
right.
Whoops.
Yeah, and they'll put that ick factor on you. And yeah. And even, I mean, again, I just have to say about Mahmoud Khalil, they have not charged him with anything. They have not even been able to dig up anything to smear him with. That's how like clean his record is. Nothing. And he still is sitting in a Louisiana prison, unable to be with his American wife. So even if you don't care about non-Americans' rights, does she have a right to be with her husband? Like they are taking it away from all of us. They are stripping it all away, and it all matters. I know we all know that, but like, Jesus.
But I think what's interesting now is they've gone too far to where the Republicans themselves, not politicians and people in government,
right, but people like voters,
the supporters don't support what they're doing.
Yeah.
For the most part, only the extremists within their own party support it. And the extremists only keep the illusion alive online because they're the maddest. But like when it comes to voting, they're going to lose all this shit, you know, and the Democrats know this. And that's why they don't care, because they just want to maybe win again. But they don't.
And they'll continue it.
Fucking rat's ass.
Yeah.
They're going to benefit from all the things the Republican Party is benefiting from. They're just going to hide the cruelty as much as they can.
With the rainbow flag or whatever the fuck. But they're still talking about they don't want to go too woke now. It's a big thing. They all like, so the one thing that separates them is they're pretending to care about one marginal group or whatever, a marginalized group. And now they've just taken that away also. And almost all of these people, I mean, seriously, apart from like Mark Andreessen and Curtis Yarvin, all these people, and Peter Thiel, but like all the other tech people, they were all big Democrats. They were all heavily financed by Obama. They put in tons of money to Biden and Kamala. Like they do not care. And then they just switched over to Trump. They don't care.
There's no good billionaires. There's no good tech bros.
No,
there are no good tech bros. I know tech bros in the real world. Don't like them.
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. We want to stop this epidemic. We need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin. What we have seen so far, it's corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next phase is the surveillance going under our skin. We now see mass surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them, And we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet. Above all, they want to know what is happening under our skin. What's our body temperature? What's our blood pressure? What is our medical condition?
In a matter of seconds, the chip is inserted. The transformation is complete.
When scanned, all of a person's information about their vaccination status is shown on a reader or phone.
Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life. Humans are now hackable animals.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy.
You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over.
I mean, you know, saw RFK Jr. talking about a registry of people with disabilities.
Absolutely disgusting. Gross. I mean, this chip stuff I would have said was kind of crazy if you showed me this video 10 years ago, you know, but then you look at the proximity to power that the Neuralink guy has.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, the Neuralink guy, is right next to President Trump with the black eye and on drugs.
And who's gutted every agency that could possibly, I mean, not that anybody pretended to even want to regulate this, but like,
I mean, and the reason I would have said no is not that I don't think they want this data and tracking, but they have it with our phones already. But, you know, we can block some of that. And so, you know, it's not ridiculous to think. I mean, and with the Real ID thing coming, you know, they're pushing that across the country. It's
and also our phones, like our phones you're mapped everywhere, like everywhere. So that's not even biometric, but it kind of is, ain't it? Like your steps.
Well, look, hey, this is biometric.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm getting rid of
my smartwatch has got my bio shit.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah. There's a lot of really horrible things. I will say that we don't have this video, but there was a video of a group of people, I think it was in San Francisco, where a local Italian restaurant, all these ICE agents like descended to try to arrest their restaurant workers. And the people on the street, when they saw what was happening, went crazy against the ICE agents and shut it down. So, you know, it always makes me so nervous. I'm like, but those people had guns and they could have just like killed everybody who did that, but they didn't kill them yet. So this is the time, like if those things are happening, like I think it's really, if they weren't scared of us, they wouldn't be doing all of this, right? There's a reason they're scared of us. And the time to act is now, because pretty soon, like that civil war is not going to be like, oh, the right wing versus the left wing or whatever. It is not going to be that. It is going to be the people in power against the bottom 90%.
And look, as much as I hate Democrats, you know, we want Democrats to be at least fake supporting our position, because it convinces a lot of moderates and people in the middle and independents to support our position. So we can't have both parties out there saying this police brutality is good, this you know, mass surveillance is good. So it does help our cause when we push back enough and there's some moment in public. So if there was a shooting, for example, you know, if the ICE agents open fire, Democrats would have to condemn this action, and it would push them back. I'm just saying publicly, sometimes these terrible events would get Democrats on the right side because Democrats think they're the good people. So it would get the party on board, which would help us more. But also,
you're saying go get shot. First of all, I don't trust that Democrats would actually speak up. I think they'd be like, I don't know. I saw some of her tweets, and she's a fucking Hamas supporter.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm just saying.
I know you're trying to bring some hope, but me getting shot by an ICE agent, I'm not trusting that would do it.
I was going to kill the hope a little bit.
Okay,
if I had another second, that the downside to them getting on our side is that people still believe, well, now they're solving it, so we don't have to sleep. And no matter who's in charge, we have to fight because they're not going to actually do anything.
Here's the good news. They're not even pretending to be on our side. I mean, they really aren't. Like, they really aren't. They are doing, you know, shit like this.
It has to do with an academic theology of oppressor and oppressed.
Yes.
If you only look at the world as oppressor versus oppressed, you then have to choose in a conflict, this group is the oppressor, this group is the oppressed. It's also why, for example, there have been conflicts on other college campuses where gay students have protested things that are going on in Muslim countries having to do with the LGBTQ community in those countries. And the gay students are made to be the oppressor because a lot of them are white. And that's also what's going on when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Israelis are made to be the oppressor, the Palestinians the oppressed, and on and on and on. And that's part of what's going on at Harvard, that theology, that way of looking at the world.
The logic of that is just a mess.
By the way, the oppressor and oppressed is exactly how he and his tribe, sorry, I'm Jewish. I did not mean that as a Jewish thing. The fancy rich people in power view all of us. Like, it's the class warfare thing. Whenever people fight back against the people in power, there's like, oh, class war. Oh, you're fighting back against your occupying genocidal army of IDF soldiers. Oh, you're terrorists. Like that. They see everybody in those black and white terms.
Exactly. And dude, fundamentally, like, colleges do not look at things myopically. Like, if you're taking a class on Israeli-Palestine relations, they're not just going to go oppressed occupier. Like, you're looking at all, like, that's what colleges do. They challenge it. There is no college out there putting out like, hey, this whole class is why Hamas is good. You know, like, I'm just saying his premise is dog shit. Like, colleges debate things. They don't teach they never will look at something under the guidelines of oppressor or oppressed, the end. That's so simplistic. That's what the news does.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, unfortunately, it does feel like the red line in all of this, you know, it's that progressive except for Palestine. Like, that has been a real problem, even at colleges, even at, you know, I mean, like, I mean, I shouldn't totally say that. Like, obviously at Columbia, Edward Said was a renowned professor, but like, he wasn't the norm, you know, like, he had a following for sure, and in certain circles was really well respected, but that the Hasbara, the propaganda against Palestinians and the whole Arab world has been so profound.
Yeah,
it's gonna take a lot to, you know,
and I
pull that away.
I'm not saying that colleges always teach balance.
Yeah,
but they teach the dogma, if anything. You know,
right.
they're teaching the canon with the critical thinking that's been accepted by the world for so long.
Right.
You know, but if they're teaching something against that, they're always going to have to bring up the way people see things currently, which is why if you're teaching a class that's explaining the diaspora and Palestine and the whole situation, you're going to teach them what the mainstream media thinks also you have to counter the narrative. So it's ludicrous. I don't know. Just
it is ludicrous. And also the fact that he's even saying like, oh, they're so black and white, they see it this way. And meanwhile, he and his co-host or whatever colleague, Dana Bash, painted all of the protesters as, terrorist supporters and Hamas supporters. I mean, whatever. I'm sort of a Hamas supporter, but like, I don't consider them terrorists, right? So like, but they were the ones who painted with that wide brush. And now he's upset because he's getting a taste of his own medicine. You cannot support Israel and not be considered a genocidal maniac, because those are the facts. And there is an oppressor and there is oppressed.
And for him and our mainstream media to be behind the whole it's complicated narrative and come out here and say, you guys are not looking at it as complicated as it should be.
Right.
It's just it's so insulting. I want to punch the guy, but I'm not going to, but like,
he's awful.
It's just ridiculous. And here's the guy this is the guy who just wrote the book about Biden being, nobody in the media knew.
Cover up.
Or the media all covered it up.
Yep. Who knew it?
He's the media. He's named someone bigger than Jake Tapper in the media. There may be 5 people, but he's the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, on CNN, although his ratings are going down and his book sales are not good at all. So, lol. Macarius, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Content Pod, cheers. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he's hideous. And sorry.
You know what? You bring up the bookstairs. I just want to say, for one good thing, I'm glad that Niall, the guy who saves all those dogs in Thailand, his book doing phenomenal compared to Jake Tapper.
That's nice. That makes me really happy.
Eat it, Jake Tapper.
Well, I'll tell you something else. And again, this is, we all talk about this all the time. If the media actually covered the truth and didn't say like, oh, people, we just have to get to the center and that's the problem. And it was defund the police that hurt people and all that lies and abundance. And that's the Democratic answer to MAGA and all that kind of stuff. Axios just did a poll and Democratic voters prefer populism over abundance. Just like Democratic voters were actually in favor of that police station being burned down in 2020. That was actually popular. The marches in 2020 were popular. Healthcare for all, popular. Like all of that stuff is popular. But unless somebody highlights it and tells people the truth and doesn't use, the media as a propaganda arm of the wealthiest people in the world, then, people don't know. And then they're made to feel scared. Like, well, most people don't want that. It's a little too radical. Bernie's radical. He is center right in the rest of the world. What are you talking about? Like, it's so stupid. And people believe the propaganda. But they were even had the abundance people. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, they've lost the narrative. The mainstream media cannot control the narrative anymore. Now they can scare us into voting the right way at the end.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't, there aren't solutions brought forward to people. People aren't watching and seeing. They don't have Bernie out there for all he's doing. He's not saying, let's go stop this company from doing this evil thing. Everybody get together. Let's go do this thing.
Yeah.
So there's no solution really being put forward to the people, but the people aren't buying anymore. When you see that poll of populism versus abundance, that's healthcare. The public is seeing it as what it is, which is healthcare versus deregulation.
Yep. Yeah.
So that they've lost this whole like abundance. Let's spin abundance as something. No, people know what it means. It's deregulation.
It's deregulation. It's means testing. It's, people like this asshat who pretends to be progressive saying that he's going to have asset tests for low income and disabled Medi-Cal applicants. Like, this is the progressive leader of California. Like, again, why does anybody need Medi-Cal? Why don't people, first of all, why doesn't everybody have healthcare? Why are people poor? I just want to keep why are people poor? Just explain it to me. Why is somebody working a full-time job or not, or whatever? Why is anybody who is a living, breathing human poor, doesn't have a roof over his head, doesn't have healthcare, doesn't have food? Who is arranging this social structure? Who does it benefit? Who does it hurt? Because there is no reason to have charity, philanthropy, none of that bullshit. Everybody should be taken care of. There is abundance, actually, and it's not through means testing and deregulation.
Right. That's the point. There is already abundance without needing to push a theory that deregulates the whole corporate world to somehow free up our abundance. Abundance is here now. We could put on the corner of every few blocks something that feeds fucking people who can bring a bowl and put it underneath it. Like, you don't have a person involved anymore, but instead we give 20 million to the city of Sacramento to do something about homelessness, and they build fucking 10 little shacks.
Well,
we have abundance.
We have and I mean, this is so heartbreaking. I just in California, the fourth largest economy in the world, Democratic supermajority, homelessness among students continues to rise. It rose almost 10% this year and 37% in a decade, which is 20,000 more kids without stable housing in the wealthiest society ever. I was a room parent for both of my kids all through grade school. And, every time with the teacher, there's all these different things of like provisions in case there's an earthquake or there's a disaster. Each kid has to have like his own little preparedness kit that we put together for all our different kids. But then there was also a kit for the homeless students in the class whose name, I didn't know who we weren't told. Of course, the teachers knew, but like for food for them. There was a time, and I don't know if it still exists, that there was free breakfast served in the classroom every day for all public school kids. But like the fact that that should happen no matter what. But like, it just.
Well, so when I grew up, my mom went back to school and became a lawyer and whatnot, but she worked for Head Start.
Okay.
And Head Start was really innovative because it was pre-K education for poor neighborhood students and whatnot. But what they did that was different is they fed fucking kids. Like, how is that something that should ever lose funding? Like, you can't even get the country you can't get these evil fucking politicians to say, hey, 4-year-olds should eat some fucking food. And for that number to be 20,000 kids in California being homeless should be fucking disgusting. But that's not it. That's the increase last fucking year. 20,000 more fucking kids in this country, the fourth biggest economy in the world, ran by Democrats.
It's just because he will not tax billionaires. And that's why it is his fault. And he vetoed 3 pro-worker bills that came to his desk last year, or 2 years ago, right after the huge strike, the writers and actors strike, where like there was a huge surge of solidarity. That's really cool, Josh. I forgot that. Or I don't know if
I didn't know that. Yeah, my mom worked there for years, ended up their economic coordinator doing some econ stuff for them too. But I loved it. I used to go, when I was a kid, play with the kids, and all that stuff at the school. She taught for a little bit. But,
right. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, the richest man in the world shoehorns himself into government to try to cut social welfare programs. Like, I don't know. The pathology there, it is so sick. And it's awful because if he were a 500-pound man, he would be wearing some of the stuff that makes his mind work on the outside, right? Like if it were an obvious physical thing and people would comment on it, but somehow having an insatiable pathological need for more money makes you successful. Like,
but,
and I'm not saying anybody should comment on people, sorry, who are 500 pounds. I'm just saying, like, that would be unforgivable, but needing to hoover up all the resources and exploit people.
Well, it's just that we didn't get here through one administration,
right?
Is the point I think you're bringing up, because, well, you're leading to whatever, because if Democrats, like, this wouldn't be acceptable if we didn't think billionaires should exist in the first place. Right. If we were taxing people correctly, it would be, you would look at Musk as the villain he should be.
Yeah.
At this point, you should say,
Bill Gates,
it should be so obvious that this guy is stealing government contracts for himself. And we don't have a fucking 5 Democrats out there saying that this guy and his Doge thing is fucking evil and cutting all social services. And they're barely making a whisper about any of this stuff happening.
Yeah, nothing. No, this is their big, this was going to be their big $20 million outreach program to connect with young men with what's her name, Olivia, Juliana, and Micah, somebody, but who are partnering with former white supremacists, like self-avowed. Okay, he is no longer, but like what? Richard Hanania, whatever the hell, doesn't matter. That's their outreach. You know, and to have something like this happen when whatever you think about the pod, the Andrew Schultzes and the Joe Rogans and all of those people, they talk about socialism. They talk about Bernie. Like, we all know that this is just another way for Democrats to figure out how to lie to their voters, because they will not go against their donors. So, oh, we have a right-wing Bernie bro problem. The Bernie to Trump, give people what they need. There won't be a problem.
Yeah. Healthcare, please. The meme is literally all you got to do as Democrats to win elections.
And I
mean, but it's getting, but they've screwed the pooch so hard that even that is followed up with the "I don't believe you" meme.
Yeah.
Because it's just words. You've said a lot of shit. You're in charge of the 4th biggest economy in the world, and it's California, and you're saying, fuck you, homeless people. Sorry, you kids can't eat. We're going to start using the R-bomb more often, and Republicans are right, and sorry about all the immigrants. Those guys are really fucking you up. Yeah, immigrants are the problem too. Just, so when they try to spin some abundance thing, even people that don't follow politics much are like, abundance? What's abundance? It's that. It's taking away regulations on these fucking scumbag companies.
Yeah,
they get
because
it.
You wouldn't want clean air or water. Build.
Yeah, and they're saying build, and they look around, they're like, look, all these buildings we could be fucking in, but they're empty businesses.
It's better to throw out groceries and food than to give it to people. It's better to have buildings remain empty than to lower the rent. I mean, all of it. It's okay. Right. I think we should spin, but then I did want to just show a couple of moments of genocidal maniacs melting down when they're being interviewed, because it's just kind of makes me happy.
Wait, so do we spin first, or we do that?
We should spin, right? We should spin,
right.
just as
Spin,
like a
we'll
little
do
bit of a
that.
break. And okay, 1 second. Add to the stage.
Some sort of joy.
Little joy. Let's get a little joy in the house. All right.
Yeah, baby.
So it sounds like it's joy from the rest of the show. Is joy.
Well, I mean,
we have an abundance of joy tonight.
It's probably still going to make you a little mad. I'm refilling. Toke up, do whatever.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, that's what we need, a puppet. Yes, let's go.
All right. Sorry, this is just a cute one.
Okay.
It's not even, it's just cute.
Okay. What happened?
Ended short for some reason, apparently.
That's so weird.
What?
All right, that's all you get. That's all you get. Okay,
Too cute
so
for yeah.
listen, there's just horrific stuff continuing to happen. It's always blamed on Hamas, even though like they have agreed to ceasefires repeatedly over the last 20 months. And the one time that there was a ceasefire, Israel broke it and still killed hundreds of people. The whole Israel's being so clear that they are now like just out in the open colonizing and killing civilians. And this aid project where they have they are penning people in to look like they're in concentration camps, and they don't even care. They're making them walk 15 kilometers to get to a place where then they hand them like dried pasta and beans to people who they have cut water and electricity off to, so they can't even cook those things. And in addition, so it's handled poorly. They're making people walk for, what is that, 10, 11 miles, one way, who have already not had food or water or electricity. Total blockade since March 1st. But then they're also using it as a trap to try to get information on people, because everybody there is completely surveilled. So when they show up, they've asked some people about someone they think they might be connected to who might be part of Hamas. And then some people have just been disappeared from there. They are also, it's so poorly run because these people who are running it are not humanitarian organizations who know how to deal, where you flood the zone, you have lots of different setups close to where people live. There is an order.
No, they have like, I don't know, was it 4 or 6 or something sites for this whole thing?
For 2
and
million people.
Yeah, and the UNA and UNRWA and the aid groups had like 100. So that's what we're looking at. Like, imagine feeding, like just around Sacramento, for example, my city, and you're like, well, we used to have fucking 50 places to feed people. Now we have 4. And then, people without vehicles, how are they going to get this food? You have all these people fighting to get the food, coming back. We're seeing reports that they're like, I brought 1 can of soup to feed my 7 people in my family. And from this aid.
Now I have to walk back there tomorrow.
Yeah, and they have to travel hours to get to it, to get the 1 can to bring back that will not keep anyone alive. So then they have to make horrible choices, of course.
And that, so every day now, since this fake humanitarian effort has been mounted by Israel, which proclaimed proudly that they're just doing it because they're trying to like take away some of the war crime assertion that's been applied to them. I mean, I don't know why famine is the thing that seems to be rousing the rest of the world and not the 2-ton bombs on tents or burning people alive or beheading people or leaving babies in incubators and cutting off electricity. Like, I don't get why.
It's almost like we should just do a whole thing on the pets there, and that would get Americans involved.
I mean, it's really bizarre.
It's kind of sad. It's
crazy. Yeah. And then there was a representative of the UN who said that the 14,000 children who were in danger of starving in 2 days had to retract it because it wasn't really 14,000 in 2 days, but it was over the course of the next several months. But we also know, no matter what, that tens of thousands of people will die because of either famine or the downstream effects of being so severely undernourished. So, but I see a lot of these Zionists online who are like, oh, he had to retract that. So, like, it's just disgusting. But even in addition to all of this, they're using US mercenaries with the IDF to occupy these parts of Gaza, to then pretend that they're doing some humanitarian aid situation, which is completely insufficient. And then when you have millions of people, or, not millions of people who are able to come to these stations, but, thousands of people who are desperate, who you've starved for months, are rushing in, hoping to get any food. Then they say, see, they're animals. It's a riot. They're looting, and they start shooting. So every day, they have shot into the crowds and killed people. Every day, like every day. And the latest thing, sorry, I'm going to find it. Anyway, I was going to do something that was going to make us happy for a second. But International Committee of the Red Cross says its field hospital in Rafah has treated 179 people wounded in what it called the single deadliest incident since opening the facility a year ago. This is at an aid facility. They have also hired this guy, Abu Shabab, who before was said to be an ISIS guy. Now they're just saying he's the head of a gang. He is coming in, taking food. He's got hundreds of people with him with his weapons. He is being protected by the IDF. Just like for, the ceasefire thing, they will not say that the ceasefire will be enforced. They are not saying by the US, who's the only people who can ensure, but why would anybody believe the US anyway? But like the only people who could ensure that it's a lasting ceasefire would be the US. The longest period of time that they have now gotten is 60 days. So basically Israel's saying we want all of our hostages back, which is the only leverage that Hamas has. And then we can get into other negotiations. Why would anybody trust that? Because Witkoff and Trump have already thrown them under the bus twice, right? Like they were supposed to have the lasting ceasefire when Trump first came in. They agreed to release the Israeli-American IDF guy because Witkoff promised Hamas that they were then really get a flow of aid into Gaza. That didn't happen. Why would anybody trust any of this? But what's interesting is in the latest iteration of Israel saying what they want for their ceasefire, they removed the language that said Hamas would no longer have any political representation in the government. So basically, they want to keep Hamas in the government because that's their excuse to say, look, it's a group of terrorists and we can never have them. We have really rough neighbors. We're in a rough
that tracks, and that's why Israel elevated Hamas to begin with.
Yep.
They wanted I'm not saying Hamas is a violent regime, but initially Israel elevated Hamas because they were the most violent faction. They wanted an enemy. They wanted someone they can otherize as like, this is the bad guy, and this is why we have to stop these people.
Yep. We can't make peace with them, even though they keep saying they want to make peace. They would, I think it was October 10th, they said they'll return all the hostages for a ceasefire.
Yeah.
What
my understanding is that Hamas agreed to the latest deal and Israel hasn't yet. So I don't know.
But they still blame Hamas publicly. They're still blaming Hamas, right? This is the aid. It's all Israeli products and they are all dried. So what are you going to do with sticks of pasta when you don't have water or electricity? And not only that, they're actually killing Red Cross workers in their own homes. So it's all.
And they also in Palestine, Israelis have millions of dollars of aid that's already there that they've just got in containers locked up. And I was listening to a story on NPR, which, as much as I hate them, they will at least put out the Palestinian views sometimes. But they were talking to this family that they all got together in Palestine and had to dig up their neighbor's 5-story building that is now flattened to find some flour. To share among 10 people. Like, that's what we're doing. Like, the work that goes into that from people that are already starving, flipping 5 stories worth of rubble to dig up some flour. Like, that's the end. These people are on the end of their lives. Like, if they don't eat soon, they die.
I mean, Yeah. So it's all despicable. It's just all despicable. I don't know, again, why there has been this turning of the tide for some people. I mean, some people have all along been calling out, the Israeli spokespeople who come on their shows. But there have been a couple recently. There have been a couple of interviews recently that have been sort of gratifying because these Israeli spokespeople are so used to just being able to say whatever they want. So this was actually from a couple months ago, but then we'll progress to just this past week. This was a member of parliament speaking. I think it's like an ancillary of 60 Minutes Abroad.
Is it because of the Holocaust? This interview was finished now. Why should the world tolerate you having nuclear weapons and not, say, Iran?
First, again, we never admitted to have such weapons, but the very comparison is, I must say, it's very insulting, and I tell you why. We suffered one Holocaust. We listened to our neighbors.
Is it because of the Holocaust that you should be allowed to have nuclear weapons?
You know what? This interview was finished now. Your attitude is so hostile, and your questions are so arrogant. I don't want to speak
Is it the
with you
case
anymore.
that
Okay, so just saying about the nuclear weapons, it's hostile, blood libel, it's insulting. There was nothing insulting about that. This is interviewer Yalda Hakim interviewing Jacob Nagel, I think is how you pronounce his last name.
That was Martin Griffiths there. So how will Israel respond to those claims by the former UN aid chief? Well, joining me now is Professor Jacob Nagel, former acting national security advisor to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you so much, Mr. Nagel, for joining us here on the program. You heard there Martin Griffiths describing the situation in Gaza now as genocide. I also want to...
You mean the Hippocrates, Marty? It's so nonsense. It's saying so much.
Okay, well, we can get to that. If you just allow me to ask my question, I was just going to ask you. We've heard there what Martin Griffiths has said. Okay, well, that's what Martin Griffiths has said to us this evening. I just want to also read to you what your allies, UK, France, Canada, have been saying. They've been saying the bombardment is wholly disproportionate, the civilian death toll is intolerable, and the denial of aid unacceptable. This is not just, someone who formerly worked at the UN. These are your allies saying this now.
I'm really glad that you're also talking about what the United States is doing and what the others. And I'm sure that our friends, together with you, will talk a lot about what the genocide that the Hamas terrorist is bringing on their people, using their children and women and men.
But sir, can I just ask you to respond?
Sorry, I'm in the middle of an answer.
I know, but I don't want to go. I want you to focus on. I want you to.
This question. No. I'm sorry. You asked me. Now I answer. I didn't see that you disturbed the previous one that you just interviewed, even not in one word. So you have to ask these questions. The terrorists of the Hamas that massacred, murdered, butchered, and raped 2,000 of our people without us doing anything. Why you are not asking them this question?
We ask on a daily basis.
Why you are not asking them the question?
But I need you to respond to what Israel is doing.
Allowing their people to live. They can
Mr.
live.
Nagel, can I just get you to respond to the question?
And the last one, it's less than a minute, is Piers Morgan with that disgusting zippy Hatovli. And I saw somebody, I think it was Macarius, asking about definitely mute his mic, about Israel is Spain. Blackmailing Spain for speaking out. And a lot of European countries are now talking about arms embargoes and also boycotting Israeli products. So, there does seem to be a bit of a turning of the tide. And so, somebody who's done his best to cover for the genocide and make, every, like one of the things about Piers Morgan this whole past year and a half was, do you condemn Hamas? No matter who it was, do you condemn Hamas? So this is with Zippy Hatavli, however you say her name.
How many children have you killed?
Pierce, Israel is not
how
killing
many?
children.
Israel is killing children every single day.
Pierce, this is a blood label you're putting on Israel.
Why
You know it's not true.
What? No, it's not actually. And what you're trying to do is be very weaselly with your words.
No, I'm not.
The truth is, you are killing a lot of children. You are killing a lot of children on a daily basis. That is indisputable. So how many children have died in the process? Why don't you know that number too?
Pierce, please ask this question to the people that can give you the answer. I don't have the answer.
Who has the answer?
Please don't ask me questions.
Who has the answer? Who has the answer?
I don't have the answer. And I will tell you something.
You're the Israeli ambassador to my country. Who else should I ask? I don't understand how you can know how many you've killed, but you don't know how many civilians you've killed. Why do you know one but not the other?
As I said again, I think that it's totally irrelevant.
Are you happy that people are going to watch you as an ambassador to your country say that it's irrelevant how many children have been killed?
I mean, nothing's going to make up for who he's been, but it is just really satisfying to see some of these people in places that they formerly thought of as hospitable to their lies being confronted with truth, and they do not know how to respond. So it's either Hamas, 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 or blood libel.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to see a lot more of these, and that's how we know we're on the right track, at least. But
and
fuck him entirely.
Yeah, fuck him entirely. And
he's a piece of shit.
We're not showing the not for any big reason, but it just sort of came late in the day. But the Irish MMA fighter. I mean, I just don't really enjoy watching people hit each other, but whatever. Yeah, he has an IDF, ex-IDF soldier whom he's fighting. He wins. And as he's got the guy pinned down and is just pummeling him, he's saying, "Free Palestine, free Palestine." Looking to the crowd, he has so much control over the situation. He's got his, hands on the guy and he's hitting him, saying that. So, there's
I haven't seen that, but I'm going to watch it as soon as we're done on repeat, because I mixed on violence and I hate, some of that stuff, but I will appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I liked watching it, but it's like, yeah. Anyway. Okay. So do you have anything else to say before we cut out? It's been really, one good thing. Okay. Yeah. Oh,
one good thing. I have nothing to say.
Really?
You've said it all. We've said it all.
You did too. You said it all. You missed bullshit Barbie. Man, we just kind of skated right through that. There was so much to cover. We need a nightly, we need a five nights a week show to cover everything.
Yeah.
Bullshit
the thing
Barbie,
about bullshit Barbie we didn't really even get into is that bullshit Barbie, they hire a pretty blonde to come out and placate the audience, but that whole scheme of using that as cover was Democrats as well. Democrats had
100%.
They're like, let's get a minority woman because that will provide more cover. You're being antagonistic to a woman like you wouldn't be to a man.
Right.
Or, so anyway, that part we didn't get into much, but all right, where were we?
Well, I was trying really fast really fast and hard to find the that Irish fighter. I'm just gonna leave it. Everybody go look. That's not what we're showing as our one good thing, but it is kind of awesome. And sorry, everything everybody's saying, I agree with everybody. They're all Serena Joys. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Saki was exactly the same. I mean, they're all just the same. It's disgusting. Okay, this came to us from dear friend of show and our, colleague, Zainab Day. And it's so great and so much fun and truly a way to go out. So thanks to Zainab. Thanks also to everybody who has sent us suggestions and tagged us into fun videos, Truth to Tweet. And, and I didn't even talk about Buddha activists who also wrote me and wrote us and had works for such a great way. I just have to say this really quickly.
Do it.
Science
Do it.
for
We
the
have time.
people on practical ways to resist genocide. We will talk about it on Wednesday. Don't let me forget. We have some really amazing supporters and friends and pup family members. So we will talk about that a little bit on Wednesday because it's really great and it will make everybody feel a little bit powerful in how we can possibly take direct action. So I will remember to do that. All right, Zainab, thank you so much for this. We love all of you guys. We will see you on Wednesday. Keep punching up. Cheers.
Cheers.
There's fascists in Florida, Nazis in Nashville, tyranny in Tennessee. They're throwing their fits with their tariffs and tricks in the land of the free. Oh, drink to the people who stand against evil, the protesters, punks, and the gays. We'll dance until morning while they're out here snoring. The woke is about to awake. So bring on the maggots, the red-hatted bigots, cry over your privilege and greed. Just know that us faggots, us dirty old hags, we're all calling you Nazi. Whoa, drink to the people who stand against evil, the protesters, punks, and the gays. We'll dance until morning while they're out here snoring. The woke is about to awake. So fuck all the fighting, the lefting and righting, they're bleeding astride just the same. The billionaires with their fake Turkish hair, they're all just crooks of cocaine. Whoa, drink to the people who stand against evil, the protesters, punks, and the gays. We'll dance until morning while they're out here snoring. The woke is about to awake. Whoa, drink to the people who stand against evil, the protesters, punks, and the gays. We'll dance until morning while they're out here snoring. The woke is about to awake.